Hello, YouTube. We're back to your regularly scheduled program of daily vids. Okay. I don't know what to talk about today. I just set up the camera, took a seat. Or maybe there's one thing I could talk about. One thing left unresolved that I could talk about. Maybe it's future Trunks grape soda or white grape flavored soda. Yes. A little lore about Mr. Trunks here. He first appears in Dragon Ball Z. He comes from the future. He is the son of Vegeta and Bulma, which is unknown to them at the time because he comes from the future. He only tells Goku, and then Piccolo overhears it. But I think as a kid, everyone thought Trunks was fucking cool because he's like the only guy in the series that's a fighter and a Super Saiyan and doesn't wear goofy ass clothes. Like he's wearing he's admittedly very 80s. His waistline is very high of his pants. He's got this tiny little jacket, and he's got a sword and all this crap. And later on, he gets this bandana in Super when they bring him back. And he's got like these Capsule Corp high top sneakers. And I think he's like the only one that looks like a cool teen. And that was probably a fresh change of everyone else who's wearing a karate gi or the Vegeta Saiyan armor stuff. And he also had the 90s cut. Oh yeah, that 90s part. I think that appealed to a lot of people. I remember thinking he was pretty cool as a kid. But he comes back in Super. He has his own arc. And he was kind of a bitch. I'm not going to lie. He just comes back and he's just like... I don't even really remember his hang up. He just was, I don't know, he's just traumatized from his past of everyone he knows being killed by androids. And then he confronts like his younger self in that timeline, but like that version of himself does have a father and all of his friends. So he's like, that the young Trunks in the Z universe is like Trunks gone right. And of course it's easy for him to have a good life because he's got his family and everything, where this guy had to go through hell constantly. But he comes back and he's kind of the little bitch, and then he ends up dealing the final blow to Zamasu at the end, I think, if I remember correctly, in like this total ass pull where he does like a spirit bomb but with his sword. It's whatever. But anyways, let's get to it. I've had a ton of food and junk today already, so I might as well layer on some high fructose corn syrup with some more. Cool. You can smell that artificial grape already. So imagine like the artificial grape taste, but like, it's gonna sound dumb, but like you get the artificial grape and it tastes distinctly like purple grape. You know what I'm talking about when you eat some candy that's like artificially grape flavored and it tastes like purple. This is like lacking the purple. So I mean, it tastes like artificial grape, but it's just like, imagine like without the, like a little more subtle, or just like the edge is taken off, so it's not as grapey as usual, but it still has like that distinct taste and smell. And like the Boo soda, it tastes a little more like a sparkly water than a soda. And again, it's not like overwhelming. Like this doesn't taste like LaCroix or something, but it's more on that side than a pure soda. Like all the other ones, which were super sweet, tasted like a freaking grape soda or like an orange soda, or like, you know, like that kind of taste that you recognize from a fruity flavored soda. And this is like much more subdued. It's not bad, but it's probably my second favorite. It's probably gonna be, now that I've done them all, this is the last one. It's probably gotta be Vegito apple first. The Vegeta vanilla, the Goku orange, white Future Trunks white grape, and then last is peach boo flavor. Get them while you still can, folks. So they're gonna be flying off the shelves. Well, no video would be complete without a little bit of a rant. Of a rant that I haven't thought much of, but I'm gonna try to spit it out anyways. And I was thinking about accepting people and yourself as they are. That whole idea of accepting things as they are. Go listen to a song by Bright Eyes called "I Must Belong Somewhere," and in the song he just keeps talking about things. God, I should have at least pulled up some examples. He's mostly talking about things in nature or man-made things that might be decaying, or God, maybe I could look up the lyric real quick. No, I can't. Anyways, go look up that song. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's not really central to this point I'm making at all, but it made me think of this when I was thinking about the way people are. And we want people to cooperate with us, or we want people to change, or we want to change for other people, whatever variation of that. There's a lot of asking for change. And then there's this other school of thought that says, don't ask for change, don't expect change out of anyone. No one's going to change. Just accept things as they are. Which sounds so defeatist and like you're giving up, or like you're not striving for anything. It sounds so like contrary to progress and things like that. But I started thinking of it more like there are so many people out there, and there's so many situations you'll encounter in life that it makes a ton of sense, because there's no point in trying to change someone when there's just other people. And we're kind of stuck with certain people in our lives because that's just who's in our proximity. Like, there's that whole monkey brain thing of like the monkeys on the island. They basically, I can't summarize the whole thing for you, but basically what they found was that like humans can only put about like 100-ish people in their memory, and the rest of them kind of get pushed away, and you lose empathy for those people that are not in that group. And this is like a biological thing. Like, this isn't like preference or something. This is like, and the reason this is relevant is because like the online era, this started like maybe like Facebook or MySpace or something. People had hundreds and hundreds of friends, and you're like, how do you have 500 Facebook friends, right? And the truth is, you can have all those friends, you can know all those people, but there's only going to be like a fifth of them that you actually give a shit about, right? And that's not a really bad thing, because for every person, there's 100 people that they give a shit about, which means like, everyone does their part and kind of covers the bases. You don't change the world by yourself. You just affect the people around you, right? So circling back, this idea of not changing, not forcing others to change, just accepting people as they are. I find it much easier to accept people and to just see them as they are, like just see them for their flaws. This sounds cliche as fuck, right? Like, see people for their flaws and accept them. And this might sound dehumanizing, but I find it actually more humanizing to say you can think of them like characters in a show or something like that. Like, when you're reading or watching something with characters and they don't always act. Characters in TV are always full of problems, right? That's the whole point. They have conflicts and they overcome them. If you look at the flaws in people as conflicts that they might overcome one day, I think it's much more charming in that regard. And the important thing is not to come at this from a position of morality, like high morality, like, oh, that foolish man, he will learn one day not to do X, Y, and Z. But I happen to be woke and know all about that. That's not the position you want to come from. You want to be non-judgmental and not even think about it, and just see it all as everyone's just like a fucking wind-up toy that gets their key cranked and they just go mee, and they go about their life. They do their thing. Me too, all of us included. And you just watch them go on their path. That's it. And every now and then you can go in and interact with it and see how that path deviates or doesn't deviate, or how they go right back on their path. We all do it, and we affect each other in different ways. And there's so much people affecting each other all the time that it's like, whether you mean to or not, you're gonna change people. But at the same time, like, trying to change people is useless. And so if you ever feel bad about not being able to reach out to someone, or to affect any kind of positive change on someone, or you feel that you're misunderstood or not being communicated properly by someone, I mean, you just remember that there's other people, and that, like, the fact you don't get along with them is actually part of a charm that you can't really understand because you're too involved in it, you know? Like, there's actually something unique and human about the fact that you can't get along with certain people, or like it's just I don't know how to describe this. It's very like a cosmic kind of feeling. Like, there's just so many different degrees of differences you can have with people. You can have a best friend that you agree with everything on except one thing, and then you can meet people who you fucking hate except one time they said something that you agreed with. Or there's people you just hate in general, or there's just people that hate you for no reason. And it's all like, it's just all part of that collective human thing. And like, so it's not, it's like, it's just not a big deal if people don't vibe with you, or you're trying to reach someone and they're not being reached, or if someone doesn't want to listen, or whatever. Am I thinking of certain people right now? Maybe. Anyways, Future Trunks, white grape soda. Just kidding. I don't know how to circle back on that. I think I said everything I wanted to say about that. Just, I guess what I want to say is, what I'm trying to say is, you've heard the old cliche advice, just accept people as they are and don't try to change people. And that could be hard to swallow. And because it's such a cliche, it's like, what does that even mean? But instead, think of it in this other way, that like, everyone's fine as they are. And if you're not vibing with a certain group or person, like, that's perfectly fine and great as well. Like, not only are you going to learn something from it, but like, there's so many other people. It's just a sign that means, like, go shift your perspective and go wander somewhere else and see who you meet over there instead. I could say, like, coming to Texas, for example, there's a big difference. And like, choosing to pursue the friend group that I have now, there's a big difference. And not that there's anything wrong with my old friends, but it was more like hanging out with the people I knew in high school and college. They acted one certain way, learned to live that way, and then I came here, and things are a little more relaxed, I guess. I mean, that's still not to say that things were stressful before. It's just there's different attitudes. That's, I guess, what it is. There's different attitudes that people have, and when you grow up faced with one attitude your whole life, you think that's how all people are. and then you go to another region and there's a different attitude that's slightly different, and you're like, this vibe's a little bit more with me. And then maybe things will change and one day that won't vibe, and then you have to go somewhere else. Oh. Or you just stand firm and you don't give a fuck. It's probably the ideal. You just don't give a fuck. It's just like Future Trunks, bro. His father and everybody he knew was killed by androids, and he said, wow, this place kind of blows. I'm going to go back in time where they're not all dead and hang out with them instead. And so sometimes you just got to go back in time to an era where everyone's not dead to get what you want, you know? And then he got himself an Asian waifu in Dragon Ball Super, who canonically, she's like 100 years old. It's really fucking weird. But that's some deep lore for another time. But I think that's it for today. I'm going to finish this soda and listen to some music and just chill. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.